Well, I posted the other day, I started a new job. I actually started a little while ago. It's not a new job completely. It's with Lake George Radio. I'm doing weather forecasts for them, and they're located in Lake George, which is where I am right now. There's a lake behind me. Going into the office, I'm going to meet with Walt Adams. He's the program director and morning host. Kind of a longer story. Started actually with them with a previous ownership. And last September, the previous ownership decided to go in a different direction. I thought they were hiring another meteorologist, but it was actually replaced by AI, an AI bot. Fast forward to the spring, this new ownership, and I got a call from Walt saying, hey, we want a real person back. So first time I've actually been in the studio, so that'll be fun. Hey there, Walt.
Dr. Restano,
How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
How you been?
Good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. First time here, which is hard to believe.
Okay, yeah, right.
We'll go in the studio. Now here, this is the inner sanctum of Lake George Radio. Beautiful view.
Welcome.
Keep an eye on the lake, huh?
It's a distraction, Neil, when I'm supposed to
I
be
bet.
working.
Cool. Well, that's a setup. Okay, here we are in the WLGR studios. Walt Adams, legend of Capital Region Radio. You've been in the business for how many years?
Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to say how many years? 50 years.
Wow.
Last October. So
That's great.
we carry on with yet another chapter here at WLGR.
All right. Well, he's gonna do an interview for me. This is an interview for you. So I'm gonna stop this, and then we're gonna do the radio interview.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. Here we go. We're gonna start the radio part of this interview.
All right.
Oh.
Lights, camera, action. I've got my radio face on.
Yeah.
Check 1, 2. You good?
Hey, you can feel free to use this joke. I know a Polish sound guy. I know a check 1, 2.
Oh, well done.
Isn't that
I like it.
horrible joke?
But can be used on radio without any censorship problems.
Right.
93.5 Lake FM. Our guest DJ this week, meteorologist extraordinaire, one Neil Astano, joins us in studio. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning. I cannot believe this is my first time here
Yes.
in the studio. Great view you have.
We do have a nice view heading north on Lake George, looking up towards the Narrows. But it is a bit of a distraction sometimes when I'm supposed to be working. I find myself with the binoculars out watching fishing folks out there.
I can imagine. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a view for television, not radio.
Right. Well, we're happy to have you here with us today. 30 years plus broadcasting experience. Neil, one of the things that I'm sure that you agree on is that the industry has changed a lot over the past 30 years.
Oh my God. I would say over the last 10, 12 years is probably when it really started to accelerate the changes. And it all started with the internet, really. And it was kind of a slow start and transition. And then once the smartphone happened and everything was online, it really changed broadcasting, television and radio. The golden age of television was probably in the 70s and 80s. 90s it started to change, and once we hit the 2000s, it was a whole different business.
It surely is. As a part of that, whether it be downsizing or other parts of the industry that have changed quite a bit, we oftentimes were surrounded by technicians and other assistants that suddenly you were kind of on your own doing your own
figure it
thing.
out. You got to figure it out.
One of the things that always impressed me was that as a meteorologist over the years, you did not have a teleprompter where the news anchors did. And that made in my mind, that was a big deal because when it comes news time, whether you're ready or not, you're on the air and you better say something intelligent.
Right. And I always say once that red light comes on, you have to be ready. I still have these recurring dreams, Walt, that something's wrong with a computer, it's locked up, and I'm running late and I can't get to work on time, or I can't find my tie. It was always, because at 5 a.m. on the dot, that red light, that tally light comes on 5 a.m. And regardless of what happened the night before or overnight tonight, whether you get 2 hours of traffic, 2 hours of sleep, you got to be ready. And The morning, I started the first morning newscast at WRGB, CBS 6 now, back in the I believe it was 86 or 87. And there was no other morning newscast. And I remember the TV critic for the Schenectady Gazette said at the time, who needs morning news? It's just a rehash. Well, now the morning news has higher ratings than any other day part. So it's become kind of the cash cow for TV stations, and they keep adding hours and hours of programming. So it was a long shift, 5 a.m. That I went on the air until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
Long day.
That surely is a long day. And the idea that you didn't have a teleprompter, you had to kind of ad-lib your way through it. You really needed to know your facts.
Right. And early on in my career, that was a real struggle. I had these catchphrases and words. I'd pause a lot and I'd say pretty this or pretty that, and just trying to collect my thoughts. But over the years, you just get used to it. And people say, well, how do you know what you're going to say? And I said, this is going to sound strange, but I don't know what I'm going to say until it actually comes out of my mouth. And I got so accustomed to that I'd be thinking of something totally different on one part of my brain. Although I got to pick this up at the store on the way home, and the other part of my brain is doing the forecast. It was the strangest thing.
It's got to be a strange moment of limbo when that takes place. The changes also that have occurred, like for example. We had AI weather for a little while because
how'd that work out for you?
The company that had previously owned WLGR had this company and was looking to market it around the country, and several stations were buying into it. So we were one of the first to be experimenting with it. But the first time I heard the AI weather guy say it's going to be sunny tonight, I knew we had some Houston's. We have a problem.
We have a problem. We're not in Barrow, Alaska, where it's late at night. Right. So yeah, we've got an issue.
So hence, fast forward, we have a brand new owner, and one of the first things he said was, "We've got to get Neil back in here and have a real weather person who knows the way the wind blows."
Yeah, I'm real. I'm not an AI bot. Right. Flesh and bone.
And it has been the difference in night and day when it comes to actual coverage. I look at a variety of different weather sources early in the morning before the show. I can say this honestly, looking at all the different, the Weather Channel, they all have their degrees of accuracy. I've always found your forecast to be the most accurate of all the others. And I know it's a tough game because weather patterns change suddenly on you, and within 6 hours, suddenly there's a huge weather pattern change that you may not have been able to predict. So I get that part of it, but I would say that by far you're more accurate than any of the other sources I look at every day.
Oh, well, thanks. It's when I was in television, our consultants would say our biggest competitor is the iPhone, is the cell phone and the apps, because people look at that and they see the hour-by-hour app. Oh, it's going to rain at 2 o'clock. Well, there's a chance of rain. It doesn't mean it's going to rain.
Right.
So people start just believing whatever their app says on their phone, and that's going to be the forecast. So that's kind of our biggest competitor in the broadcasting industry, whether it be radio or television. And the apps are only as good as the computer models that spit them out, and there's no human touch to it. There's a difference between Lake George weather and Albany weather, and they're only more than an hour apart. And between here and where I live, up in the Saranac Lake area, there's another big difference. So you got to recognize that the changes in the geography, topography, and how that affects the weather patterns.
I want to talk more about your perch up there in the high peaks, but one of the
I don't live in the high peaks.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Perch in the mountains.
I don't live in a tree. I live in a bird's nest.
That's got a nice visual to it. That could go national.
Yeah, you could.
But the idea that surviving broadcasting for 30 years is...
or 50 in your case.
Yeah, no easy task. We talked to many of the people that we've known over the years who have come and gone, and would be the first to agree that it's not easy. But I think what we both had developed in the matter of survival is that we had a sixth sense when things were changing, and could stay at least a couple steps ahead of the game in order to survive. And I know you started a Facebook page a few years back before you retired from television. That has blossomed and grown quite a bit, and
It
now
has.
it's kind of a force to be reckoned with. Some 20,000 people,
So
right?
approaching 25,000. So
That's
hopefully after this airs, well, I'll
we'll
be
kick
over
it up.
25,000. I
We'll,
have to have a YouTube channel as well. And I actually started enhancing my Facebook page a couple of years ago after I left television. It was primarily a source to keep in touch with viewers and a way to get pictures on the air. It was to streamline the process. But I decided to keep it and change it to more of my lifestyle in the Adirondacks. So it's Neil's Off-Grid Adirondack Adventures, kind of a long name. I'm not changing the name, but more reflects my lifestyle, what I was doing. And I wanted to apply to be on the show alone, and I didn't really have a Facebook or a social media presence featuring that. So I applied to be on the show alone. There are like 40,000 that apply. So
that's where you get dropped off in the middle
middle
of
of nowhere
nowhere, and
for
you have to survive as
long
long as you can.
so until you tap out.
Right.
So I don't know why I signed up for that punishment, but I did. I didn't get the call, but as the audience grew, there was a real need and a desire for people to share this lifestyle with me. A lot of people say I'd like to do that, I never could. So I just try to give the good, bad, and the ugly about where I live. I live off the grid. I live off a road. I can't drive to my house. I have to take a boat in the warmer months across the lake in the winter months, or when the ice isn't safe, it's a 2 mile walk to my house. So it's a unique way of living. It's challenging at times, especially in the winter.
But you have groceries on your back.
I've had groceries on my back.
Have you seen wolf or bear tracks out that way?
I saw wolf tracks about a
Wow.
year and a half ago in the snow. They were bigger than my hand. They were a very big track. And the hair on the back of my neck stood up a little bit. It was almost dark. I'm like,
let's
okay.
get home and
Yeah,
lock the door.
Yeah.
That's great stuff, though. Again, your location there allows you to kind of live a little bit off the grid.
A lot of it off the grid.
A
actually.
lot. You're completely off the grid. What's your weather station like as far as being able to come up with these accurate forecasts? What are you looking at?
I have a set of weather dice, Walt, and
Roll the dice.
roll the dice.
It's sunny today.
Sunny tonight. I'm off the grid, which means I'm not tied by wire to the electric grid. I don't have a wired telephone, but I do have satellite internet. I have telephone that's connected to my satellite internet. So I have it's like a regular handheld phone, and I got that for primarily emergencies. It also doesn't use the data when I make phone calls, is I don't have much of a cell signal. So if something were to happen to me and I'm out there alone, I'd have to make it back to my house, but I could call 911 on that phone, even though I may not have cell service. So that's an additional cost. So I have 3,200 watts of solar panels.
Oh, nice.
And I have, this time of year, I have plenty of power. I mean, I actually shut one of my units off. It recharges every day, so I'll never have a utility bill. I bring all my propane in. Obviously, I try to plan ahead. When I know the ice is going to start forming, I'll fill all the propane tanks up and get me through that transition, so I'm not packing 50 pounds of propane on my back coming in. So it takes some pre-planning. I have a computer, so I look at all the computer models, read the forecast discussions. I can look at radar, satellite, all that stuff, and plus I have some great information on my phone, not an app, but another program. It's actually called Windy, windy.com. It's a great weather app. It's got all the computer models. I can overlay them. I can compare them. So those are the tools I use. So that's my weather station.
Well, that sounds really intriguing to me. I could see myself doing it, but I got to ask you, do you ever get lonely?
Yeah, there are times. The summer's not so bad. My friends and neighbors are around, but by October they're going to be pretty much gone. Maybe weekend warriors. And yeah, I think I wasn't there all last winter. I went to New Hampshire to take care of my mom who was ailing, so I wasn't there all last winter. But the winter before, the biggest thing is it gets dark at 4:30, and the evenings are very, very long. And the first time I lived there about 10 years ago, I did not even have a television. Now I have television. I had an AM FM radio. That was it. And most of the FM stations I got were in French because I'm so far north.
Right.
But now I have television. I can watch my football games and keep
Helps
in touch.
pass the time.
Yeah, some streaming services. So that definitely, I don't watch much television in the summer at all. But so I'm off the grid, but I actually live very comfortably. It's not other than the remoteness, it's a normal life. And the technology, we talked about the evolution of broadcasting. When I did the weather for you not too long ago, it's another station down in Saratoga County,
Right.
southern part of Saratoga County. I had to call on the phone. You had to record it on carts, and
Yes.
then it would play, and I'd have to be exactly 30 seconds.
Yes.
It was a pain in the
Right.
you know what.
It really was.
Now it's so streamlined. I actually use my cell phone. I have microphone like you're wearing now. I just clipped one on,
Yeah.
and upload it to a server, and usually it works
Yeah.
really well.
Really well.
Yeah, so it's really streamlined the process, and it's so technology is a good thing.
That's great. Once again, we're talking with meteorologist Neil Estano on 93.5 Lake FM. Our guest DJ joining us. Um, you know, we've been seeing a lot of extreme weather lately. Wildfires burning out of control in Canada. Climate change is, I guess, the climate's always been changing
Mm-hmm.
around the world. And if we go back far enough, we were actually, this was a glacier at one point.
You had a mile of ice over us
Yeah.
at one time.
Before that, a tropical rainforest, as I understand it, going way, way back. But we are seeing that we have seen some warmer temperatures
Mm-hmm.
that I'm sure have something to do with affecting some of the extreme weather we're seeing.
Yeah, some of the heavier rainfall is in part due to higher temperature. The higher the temperature, the much more water vapor that atmosphere can hold. So some of the rains have been heavier because of the higher temperatures. There have been some extreme heat across much of the southern half of the country.
Yeah.
We've even had some
15, I saw somewhere.
Yeah, had some very hot temperatures, and the heat index has been pretty high. Tampa had their first time ever hitting 100 degrees, which is hard to believe.
Yeah, I thought that was odd too when I heard
I think
that.
they might have hit 1942. It was a hot stretch in Miami, hit 100 for the second time in the same time period. The first time was in 1942 when Miami hit 100. People find that hard to believe, but
Right.
humid air takes a lot more to warm up. So
Okay.
that's why.
And those breezes that come off.
Yeah, so dry air like in Death Valley or Phoenix, that's why they get to 120 degrees, 125. The air is very dry and heats up quickly.
Gotcha. With that in mind, we see that perhaps the fires in Canada that's had quite an effect on the atmosphere. There was a time when I looked out the studio, I couldn't see 3 miles up the
You
lake.
probably couldn't see Black Mountain there.
Yeah, couldn't see Diamond Island.
Yeah, it's been the last 2 summers really, and part of it is like why don't they put the fires out? So I started doing some research on it, and the fires, many of them are so remote that the planes can't refuel, can't get out there to dump their the retardant or whatever on it and get back to the airport to refuel. So they're left to just letting them burn, and it's very unfortunate for the forest, for the critters that live in the forest, and for us here,
right.
The visibility. There was a time of like 2 weeks ago, my eyes were burning, my throat was scratchy. It was awful. So it's nice to see a nice clear sky today.
Yeah, it sure is.
See all the way to Hague, or at least to the Narrows.
Yes,
right now.
yep. It was. We do a voters report here at Lake FM, and air quality has been poor several days in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Which
So
is hard to believe. We're in the Adirondacks, it's Lake George. How could the air quality be poor?
Right. It just shows you that everything's interconnected in the atmosphere. So what's happening, 1,500, 2,000 miles north and west of us affects us here with the wind pattern.
Right. I was going to ask you. Now you're familiar with Lake George. I believe you did some sailing on Lake George years back. Well, I remember seeing you and Liz Bishop somewhere up on the East Coast. Somewhere up on a sailboat.
Yeah, I had a Seafarer 22. I had it in Bolton Landing for one season. Then I also had it in Warner Bay, and I did a lot of sailing on the lake. I've had some pretty harrowing experiences on this lake. One was the last summer I had. It was late in the year. It was dead calm, so calm that I had the motor on the sailboat, and I look across the lake. I'm on the eastern shore. I look across the lake, and I see what appears to be whitecaps. And I said to my sailing companion, I said, get the mast down, get the sails down.
Yeah.
As I'm getting the jib down, this wind hit that almost knocked the boat over.
Wow.
So going from dead calm to a squall like that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm hanging on the mast trying to hold onto the boat as we're almost capsized.
Wow.
I get the sails down. I go into work the next morning, and I look back. There was a special weather statement from the Weather Service saying, "Get off of Lake George immediately." And it was a 60 knot wind
Whoa.
that came across the lake. So I appreciate the lake, the nature, the weather. It can change in an instant, and you have to be prepared for anything. And a weather forecast may not pick that up.
Right.
It literally blue sky. Came out of there's no thunderstorm around anywhere. It was the strangest weather event I've probably ever witnessed, and it almost cost me my life.
Yeah, word to the wise. If anyone's hearing this now, before you head out, just make sure you have contingency plans for bad weather, because it can kick up, like Neil said, it very quickly. Last year, and even again this year, we've had a couple of what I assume would be called microbursts that took out many trees, hundreds of trees.
Yep.
In the Narrows region of Lake George on the islands. They're still doing cleanup on some of the islands there. I've never seen that before.
Well, you can imagine if you're in your boat and one of those hit.
Forget it.
Flip you over.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though I do the forecast, a couple times an hour, the weather can change very quickly. And I would highly recommend that every boater have a marine radio or a weather radio, because that will give you immediate alerts, which is something in this format I'm not capable of doing.
Right.
So that could be potentially a lifesaver.
Yeah, good idea. But your time on the water certainly has added to your expertise, because you're out there, you're feeling it, you're seeing it, the way some of the patterns work. It has to help in what you do every day.
Yeah, and the wind forecast too is the wind is always different on the lake. It's usually a good 20 to 30% higher winds out on the lake than what is forecast on your app. So I try to keep that in mind. My most recent job, I worked at a high-end resort in the Adirondacks. I'm no longer there, but my job was to drive boats. I'm literally a professional boat driver.
All right.
So I'm out on the water all the time, and I've seen pretty much everything from other boaters to weather, and yeah. I got caught in a whiteout one time
really?
Driving
on the water.
On the water. It was in October, and had some guests out on our hacker craft, and I had to stop the boat. And I said, "Why are you stopping?" Like, I can't see where I'm going. It was a whiteout. So,
wow, you never know.
And a hailstorm. So
lovely.
In an open boat.
Right. Along those lines, New York State now requires boaters in New York to have a license. It took me about 5 hours online. I did it. It wasn't too difficult, but we're seeing a lot of people still not having their boater's license and going out on the water. It really is a good idea. Maybe coming from you, you can encourage people to go ahead and get that license.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's basic stuff, but a lot of it is a reminder of how you have to really pay attention out on the water. I got my boater certificate, safety certificate, probably 10, 12 years ago or so. And in order to drive boats for guests, I have to have a public vessel license. So that's over and above that. That's a much harder test to pass. It's a 100-page book, and there's a lot of detail in there. That's the public vessel license, good for 5 years. But yeah, it's not only the law, but I strongly encourage people to take the test and so you're better prepared to handle things that happen. It's such a dynamic environment. Boats have no brakes. Jet skis have no brakes.
It's been busy out there.
Yeah, there are no lanes like there are in cars. People go anywhere and everywhere. So you have to know the rules of the road, who has a right of way, who needs to yield to other boats. So it's just a dynamic environment, and when things go wrong on the water, they go wrong quickly, and you have to be ready. Always be kind of one step ahead.
You're absolutely right. That's sound advice. Unfortunately, with people renting, excuse me. Unfortunately, due to the loopholes in the law, people renting boats for a week don't need one, which is crazy. The ones who really need it.
When I heard that, I'm like, are you kidding? Those are the people that really need to know, because I've seen renters of boats just having no clue what they're doing, put it mildly.
Yeah. So anyway, if that helps encourage some folks to pay attention, that would be good for everyone
Yep,
involved.
absolutely.
And certainly being courteous on the water, and certainly at the launches.
Hmm.
And
Pack your patience.
pack your patience in the clean, drain, and dry stations. Well, Neil, when it comes to music, do you have any favorite artists or particular songs that you might
Yeah,
like? Because we'll
yeah,
slip in here as our guest DJ.
that'd be great. I like '80s alternative music. Actually, when I was driving here, I heard Kate Bush, "Running Up That Hill," which was a popular song back in the day, and got more popular from the show Stranger Things, which I've never seen. So
Right.
they play that. So I like. Well, this is not '80s alternative, but Gin Blossoms, The Cure, B-52s. I actually almost wore my B-52 shirt.
Oh, good stuff.
Uh, so that genre of music. So anything from oh God, I'm on the spot. But yeah, that type of music, the psychedelic furs.
Yeah.
I've seen them 7 times in concert,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, big
Okay.
fan of psychedelic
Yeah.
furs. So, "Heaven" is a great song, and
Hmm.
"Love My Way," and some of the new songs are really good. So
Good stuff.
anything from the '80s alternative genre would be
You
great.
you got it. Coming up next, once again, our guest DJ this week, meteorologist Neil Estano, heard exclusively here on 93.5 Lake FM. Anything else you want to add?
Hmm?
Anything else you want to add? Or
No, I think I'm all
sweet,
good.
right?
You guys get all that?